What's up, y'all? I'm your host, Justin. I got Brady here for Action Hour. We're a little bit late. My computer is having troubles tonight. Can you all hear me all right? Brady, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, Justin. How are you doing?
I don't know. I can't hear you. Can the viewers hear me? Oh, I might be able to hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, Justin. You hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you at first. Is it glitchy at all? Pixelating for viewers?
No,
Okay,
it's
everybody
clear
can hear
as day, so I think we're good to go.
All right, sorry, y'all. Like for some reason, my MacBook is just struggling today. I don't know what the deal is. So, welcome everyone. Glad you can hear us. Chris, thank you. John, thank you. Jerry, thank you. Image is clear. Perfect. Okay, sweet. Well, welcome. Action Hour here. We're gonna be here for an hour. We're gonna talk Oaklawn, Arkansas Derby. Of course, talk Keeneland meet. And where are you right now? Where are you at?
I'm at Keeneland, and I'm going on like 3 hours of sleep, and so it's been a wild last 7 days. We jetted out to Santa Anita for the Santa Anita Derby weekend. Got to meet a lot of cool people out there. Had some great hosts. Shout out to Little Red Feather Racing and Aaron Greider for showing us around out there. That was awesome, and got to see the Santa Anita Derby and. Flew to Vegas for the national championship game, and now we got up at 4 a.m. and drove to Keeneland today. So I've got so much energy, if you can't tell.
Well, good, nice. So you went to Vegas first, and then you went to Keeneland.
Yeah, so I was already on the West Coast, and I'm like, well, the national championship game's going on, so why not just dip down there for a day? And that was fun. And after about a day, you're already ready to leave Vegas. So we got back and worked for a day and came back down here to Keeneland. So we were actually at the races today. So yep, Greider the rider, he's the man. He's really cool. He's got some really good stories and a lot of good insight from a guy who rode for a long time and now is on the other side of the business. So. But yeah, we got the crew down here, and we're going to Keeneland the next few days. And it rained on and off about 4 different times today, and the card was a little tough to figure out at certain points in time. But hey, we're here, and went back and checked out a few of the barns and everything, and got my handicapping done. And we're gonna go watch morning workouts tomorrow morning, and we're just getting the full experience. I'm excited.
Nice, I love it. Well, so last week, Santa Anita Derby. Bit, I guess, of an upset at Santa Anita Derby, but how was your trip out there?
It was great. And yeah, I would say that was an upset because that was a turf horse that was coming off and ended up being Lone Speed ahead of 2 Bafferts and Dream Shake. And so I did play the Xpressbet contest, and my contest winning play I was hoping for was Medina Spirit over Dream Shake over Defunded, and they all came in second, third, and fourth. So we took a swing and a miss there, but really impressive ride by Rispoli, getting that horse out to the front end. And I actually saw Umberto today, and said hello to him, and nice ride because that was awesome. And not a whole lot of our handicappers saw that coming because he was coming off of the turf going for the dirt. And now you got a new speed horse in the Derby. And I feel like just a few weeks ago, we were talking about Concert Tour maybe being the Lone Speed after Life is Good was out with an injury. But now, we've got Hot Rod Charlie, we got Rock Your World, and, we've got, Soup and Sandwich. We've got a few speed horses in this race now.
It's going to be good. I had some people send me their tickets. I had a buddy played at Keeneland last weekend, played a $10 pick 5, $10. And I think his ticket was fairly cheap. I think it was like $100 for $10. So essentially $10 for a buck, or I can't remember, but he ended up hitting it, and he ended up going slim. And we talked about that last week. And, I pulled up, the races. I know we talked Flagstaff. We like Flagstaff. We didn't love Hidden Scroll, pulled it out. Go to the 8th race, Bound for Nowhere, looked pretty money. Bound for Nowhere ran good from out there. Imprimis ran second. You go to race 9, Malathat wins. I was all over the 3, Simply Ravishing, who's now retired. like yesterday, my buddy's like, oh, your bet lost. We did a head-to-head handicapping. Mike Mahoney, he had mouth that. She ran great. Simply Ravishing just stopped, and then now it's retired. But you can go slim there. Kamari wins, who I didn't love, but wins there. And then in the last essential quality, you could go chalk. In the pick 5, it still paid. It paid $48 for 50 cents. So he played it for $10. So he hit that 20 times on a cheap ticket. And I hope there's others that did that as well. Really cool, though.
Yeah, and that's what happens when Rosario wins 3 races. It's not going to pay very much. And usually at Keeneland, you get a decent price here and there. But that hasn't been the case yet. So we're hoping for some, big bombs this weekend. That would be nice.
Yeah, I some people know this. So the Wood Memorial, we didn't talk about it last week, and I didn't really play. And I was kind of bummed because I caught it so last minute, because I'm the person, I will share my plays. I mean, I'm like, whatever. I mean, it's I'm not one of those people who hold it, but I looked at it so last minute, and was it Bourbonic? I can't remember his name, but I just looked at that race and I didn't like anybody. And I knew a lot of horses would go, not that they would go fast, but there would be a lot of pace up front, and just goes all the way to the back. And Carmouche takes one run and hits it at 72-1. I mean, that was crazy. And I had wheeled in the try and it paid like $1,800 or something.
That's awesome. And when you texted me that score, I was like, we were all in the contest room trying to figure out who had that. Like, somebody had to have that 3 horse at 72-1. And not only that, it was a Pletcher Exacta that paid $450. Yeah. I'd like to go back in history and find out any other Todd Pletcher Exacta since the beginning of time that's paid more than $450. That was a nice score. You hit the try. You had across the board. I mean, that was awesome. Well, what was your angle on that horse?
It was just, I knew that I thought that was not a great field. And that horse looked to be stepping up a lot. I mean, I know that we're on a bit of a time, but like, let's look at it real quick, because I think there's we don't want Oaklawn, Aqueduct. And it was, I don't remember what race it was. Was it the last race? No. 10th? Yeah, the 10th. Look at that. Paid 72-1. I mean, it was a 3% horse. Good GSR. Not bad. Was stepping up a ton here. I mean, racing, in the 50s, in a 30 and 50s, in a 74. But I just did not like any of these horses. And I knew that a lot of these horses were going to kind of gun to the front. And they just didn't look great. And everybody was saying, oh, this race is wide open. This race is wide open. So I looked here and I'm like, Carmouche riding for Fletch sends it here, just going to take back and make one run. And I think Bourbonic, he was like 20 lengths back and just came running. And, it's a bit of a gamble, but I thought the horse easily could hit the board. I loved, obviously, that it won, but that was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome, because it had to be bombs away, because Prevalence and the Chad Brown horse were the 2 favorites, and that's who everybody was talking about, and neither of those horses did any running. Prevalence had a tough trip, so I don't know if I can excuse that or not, because I thought he should have been just much the best. That's why they sent him up to New York to run in the Wood, because they thought that would be the softest spot for him. And then Risk Taking was the horse that Irad was riding for Chad, and just didn't have it that day. And so when the top 2 choices are off the board, you can get bombs coming in a huge payout. If you're Todd Pletcher, is that 3 horses now in the Derby for him? You've got Known Agenda in these 2. Is there one more? Am I missing one? Candyman Rocket or somebody?
There might be.
There's another Pletcher horse. But all of a sudden, he went from having like nobody in the Derby to options now.
All right. Welcome, Jeff. I feel like hit the like button. Thanks, Michael. 40 people. Let's hit some likes. Chris, Jeff, welcome. Coach. All right, let's dive in. I know you're in Kentucky. You're getting ready to go back to Keeneland tomorrow. Let's jump. We're going to start with Oaklawn. We got the Arkansas Derby.
I kind of want to move here. Not going to lie. It's a little bit more beautiful down here than North Indiana. Yeah, like it's cool down here. It's actually a pretty cool town. And so, you get driving, you get down, you cross the state line, you go into Louisville, and then like after you get off the highway, you got like a 20-mile drive, and there's horse farm on your left, horse farm on your right. You've got Ashford, you got Coolmore, you got Calumet Farm. And so, this is where it all happens. This is like the mecca of horse racing.
So I've never been there. So are the farms just kind of like, just you're driving by and there's these big farms that we've heard of?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like bigger than you can even imagine. I mean, these pastures are absolutely huge. And, maybe I should get into the fencing business because I've never seen so many fences in my life that I saw today driving. So, but yeah, man.
I love it.
You got two really good cards. You got the grade 1 gamble at Keeneland. And so Jim Goodman's running that from Keeneland. And so, they put together a good card for us to have, and hopefully they get a lot of participation for that. I know I'm playing in that on Saturday. And then Oakland, you got the Arkansas Derby card. I mean, this is it as far as Derby preps go. We've got the Lexington and the Arkansas Derby. And so we're going to know a lot come about 6 o'clock on Saturday night about how this Kentucky Derby is going to shape up.
All right, let's jump in. Oakland race 9. We'll keep with our standard $80 budget. We're going to cover the back half of the Oakland Arkansas Derby card, viewers. And then, of course, we're going to cover Keeneland. We'll cover Keeneland every show as that meet is going on. So I did some handicapping. We'll stick with our $80 budget. Starting in race 9, what do you think here?
Oof, this is a doozy. I looked at this race, and this was like a blast from the past. Some names that like Long Range Toddy. That was that horse that beat Improbable, back 2 years ago in the Derby prep. You got By My Standards, who was a great horse last year in the older handicap division. You got Rushy, who won the Pat Day Mile on Derby Day. You got Gunnet, that Asmussen horse that decides to show up once every 3 or 4 times. And then you got Wells Bayou, which was the Flo and Brad Cox horse that would always go to the lead. They got hurt on the Derby Trail last year. And so, man, this race is actually stacked and loaded. You've got horses that love running at Oakland Park. And so, I don't know. Tell me this. Do you ever have a rule? Do you ever have like a race that's got, 9 horses in it, and you pick 8 of them and don't hit the all button? Is that like the cardinal sin? Because I'm this close to doing that on this race.
Yeah, I mean, I tossed Long Range Toddy, and I tossed the 5 as well, Blackberry Wine. Although 11%, he can win. So I mean, I'm with you. I thought this was a tough race.
Hey, Jeff, we'll get to the Maker's Mark Mile right before we end the show at 10 o'clock Eastern. So he asked who I like in the Maker's Mark Mile. So I do have a pick for that race. So we'll get to that at the end of the show.
I think we got a spread here. I mean, do we need them all? I don't know. I mean, all but one. I mean, I didn't love everything.
Yeah, I can make a case for almost every horse in this race. Long Range Toddy, if he's ever going to run a big race, it's going to be back at Oakland. Gunnet is a horse that I think needed to mature. And so this horse went from trying to toss the rider across the rail to now figuring it out in the stretch every once in a while. Wells Bayou's coming off a layoff. Rushy, if he runs back to that class that he had in the Pat Day Mile, that could be every bit as good enough to win this race. Blackberry Wine, that's got to be the scary horse in here at 5-1 morning line. That horse is also going to gun for the lead, doesn't need the lead necessarily, and is out of Joe Sharp's barn, and I think he fits perfectly in this place. By My Standards off the layoff, I mean, he's a must-use. He's absolutely class of the field, and if he runs his back class, he's going to be tough to beat. And then you got the Brad Cox horse, the other Brad Cox, the Sound. And this horse also can show speed, but we'll see what happens. Whenever a trainer has 2 in the race, and you got one coming off a layoff and one coming off of prep a month ago, I kind of wonder which one actually took a step forward. So I went all but 7 and 8 here because I think we can get really skinny later on.
All right, I like it. Let's regenerate. See if it continually gives us everybody but 7, 8. I'm guessing that it will. Maybe. Uh-oh. You still hear me?
Yeah, I still hear. Maybe a little refresh button?
Yeah, I tried. Sorry, viewers. Yeah, John, I can see. I could see tossing the 1 as well. We'll toss the 7 and 8. Long Range Toddy might show up. Let's see if this refreshes.
Yeah, I think that's plenty of coverage in the first leg, and we're going to start out with a win. So I'd recommend to the viewers here, if you have a strong opinion in this leg, maybe just go a few deep here. If you have a really strong opinion, make your pick 5 ticket a little less expensive, or just skip this race and play the pick 4. Because we are going to be taking 7 horses in this leg, but if you get like a horse like Long Range Toddy or a horse like the Sound, or some of these prices that are going to be 6 to 12 to 1, really could help blow up your pick 5 ticket.
All right, leg 2, optional claimer for 3-year-olds. Mighty Mischief, the favorite. Ticket generator wants to single. If I remember correctly, I thought that this horse potentially could be a single. What do you think?
I agree. And you got a top GSR here at 78 for this 7-horse Mighty Mischief. And so that obviously stands out to us. It's Ricardo Santana Jr. and Steve Asmussen, which we talk about so many times, about him being the top call rider. It is a sprint distance, which Asmussen's specialty. And if you look at who he lost to, it's Aloha West, who I'm going to get to see run this weekend at Keeneland. And that's a Wayne Catalano horse that Flo's not riding for Brad Cox. He's riding for Wayne Catalano on this horse instead of riding Answer In. And so I thought that was a good sign when we were looking at the card last night. And so the back class shows that he's, beaten by tougher. And, it shows that he's going to show speed. He's going to want to grab the lead and then pull away from there. I'm comfortable singling here because I really didn't see a whole lot underneath that gave me a whole lot of confidence to use. And if we look, he's half of his morning line with the EE morning line 6 to 5. He's got the top GSR and a 58 win percentage and a top Scotty pick. So if that's not enough to convince me, I'm not sure what is.
Yeah, and I think this horse, I don't think there's a lot of speed here, and I think it may just go to the front and be gone. I'm with you. We're singling Mighty Mischief. Let's move to race 11. Grade 3 Count Fleet Sprint Handicap. We got a rematch.
I love it. And I loved what happened last time, except we had Caddo River in the double, and we know better this time not to single Caddo River.
Yeah.
I hope they throw it down again. And you know what? I've learned from some great handicappers recently that when you have a star-studded race like this, this reminds me, okay, you got Whitmore and CZ Rocket. Earlier or late last year in the Malibu, we had Nashville against Charlatan. And so, when you get these two heavyweights boxing against each other, don't just choose one. Use them both. I want to use both this time because you know what Whitmore's barn probably feels like, the Ron Marquette barn? They feel like getting revenge on this CZ Rocket horse. And this is Whitmore's territory. This is Whitmore's race. And so I'm using the 2 and the 6, and I didn't look too much past that. I like without parole, or excuse me, no parole. He shows speed, but they tried him on the turf last time. This horse for Tom Amoss was proven that he could win on the dirt and easily. Why did they make the turf? Were they I'm not sure, but the field really wasn't that enticing to me, and so I think Whitmore and CC Rocket threw it down, and we just sit back and watch.
Yeah, I'm with you. System wants to take the 4, but we're just going to go too deep here. We're going to lock that. We'll be too deep here. We'll move on to Arkansas Derby. So Ticket Generator wants to – we're going to have a lot of coverage singling the 7. It wants to take Caddo River and also take, obviously, Concert Tour and then pretty much spread a lot in the last. What do you think here? I mean, do we single here, Concert Tour, play this for $1 based on our budget? I have a future bet on Superstock as well. I did a couple future bets. I did Superstock and Midnight Bourbon. Midnight Bourbon in the Derby, love it. A Superstock. So I just said Asmussen's going to have a horse in the Derby this year. I think might run. So I took them both. I think I did $20 on Superstock and did 10 on Midnight Bourbon. Second off the layoff here. Horse maybe can improve. I don't know. I mean, Concert Tour looks very tough here. Obviously, probably our Derby favorite with, I think Essential Quality ran good. I do worry a little bit coming out of that race and how much that took out of Essential Quality. But what do you think here? Do we single? Do we go too deep and spread? What do you think?
So I know better than to bet against the man with the silver hair. And kind of funny, when we were out at Santa Anita last week, and he came up to our suite and chatted with us for about a half an hour. And I'll tell you what, Bob Baffert, he's a funny dude and he's a talker. That dude, I need to hire him for like my insurance agency because that dude could sell. So he's loaded again for the Derby. This concert tour horse, every time I see him run, reminds me of Nadal from last year. And so what they tried to do with Nadal last year was teach him how to rate in this race. Okay. And so I see Caddo River absolutely gunning for the front end because we saw what happened last time when Flo didn't get the lead. He let Concert Tour go, and that was game, set, and match from the start. And so if you're Bob, you already have enough points for the Derby. Concert Tour's in as long as you can keep him in bubble wrap and keep him healthy. In the Kentucky Derby, now we've got a lot more speed that we're talking about. We've got 4 or 5 speed horses now. So is Concert Tour really going to want to be on the lead in the Derby, or is he going to get the lead that easily? We don't know. And so here's what my theory is on this race. I think Concert Tour is going to let Caddo River go. I could be wrong, but I think that this is going to be a teaching moment for Concert Tour to help him take another step forward once we get to that first Saturday in May. So this could go one of two ways. Maybe Caddo River's a monster if he doesn't get any pressure on the front end. Maybe they both go. If they both go, this could get really dicey. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen because Concert Tour doesn't need to win this race. It literally means nothing for him going forward. And so I'd be fine singling the 5 up here. I mean, I think he's the best horse in the country right now as a 3-year-old. And, you know, if we had to give out some early Derby picks, I don't know how you couldn't pick him, at least in the top 2 or 3 after Essential Quality's a little bit of underwhelming performance. What are your thoughts here? I'm fine with singling the 5, but if we didn't, who would be the next up? Because is it Caddo River getting loose in the lead? If they both duel, Caddo River's not winning this race.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think if you single Concert Tour, you play this for $1 and you're going to get some coverage in the last, and you kind of decide where your coverage is. I liked Caddo River. We both did in the last race. I think you might be right that Bob's going to have Concert Tour try to rate here, and if Caddo River gets loose, can win. I also, with Super Stock, it's Scotty Longshot. I didn't even see that he was. I mean, he's definitely not at the same level here. Did run well at Keeneland at 8.5. I worry about the GSR drop. I think, probably I think you can go either way. I think you can single Concert Tour, or you go too deep and you take Caddo River, who, maybe gets the lead and maybe just had a rough race, and maybe Caddo River is just right back in it. And you go too deep, you go with the ticket generator, and we go too deep. If people want a single Concert Tour, you can. But I would stick to the ticket generator here, would be my thought process.
Sure. And you know what? We both consider ourselves great handicappers, but I'm the wrong guy to ask when it comes to Baffert because I can't get the right side of it. I'm serious. I don't know if I've been on the right side of Baffert since Justify. So when we were at Santa Anita, there was 25 people that I heard say, "Oh, Bobby Bow, this Bobby Bow horse is going to romp." And the other Baffert won at 4-1 that Johnny V was on, the second-time starter. And so you never know. And so Hosier's in this race. Maybe Bob wants another Derby horse. I mean, I can think 2 years ago I was at Keeneland, and we were just leaving, and the Santa Anita Derby was going off, and that was the one with Instagram, Game Winner, and Roadster. Game Winner was already in the Derby. Roadster didn't have enough points, and Roadster flies right on by him. So, who knows?
Yeah, and Greg, from a GSR perspective, yes. I mean, it tells us that Caddo River should love the longer distance. And you see here in the trouble notes, rank, empty, came out, bumped, kind of took out those horses. Maybe you forgive this. We both did, I remember, and I really liked him leading up to this. I thought he could be a freak, and maybe you forgive this race and you get an upset, to your point here. Caddo River gets the lead, Flo goes and tries to wire, and can Concert Tour Ray? I think it's one of these two horses, though. For my future bet, I hope Superstock somehow runs a race, or I think he's got 10 points. So, but I think we go too deep. I think, and others could double the ticket and play a buck and have two singles. Let's move to the last. We're at, I was going to look at our time. Sweet. We're at 6:27. So we got plenty of time. We still got 30 minutes.
What's our ticket costing so far? $72. And do we have all in the last leg?
No, not all. And you could do that if you singled Concert Tour. I had tossed the 6, 9, 10, and it's giving us looks like 2, 4, 6 horses. Any thoughts here? I actually had forgot to even go back and look at this race. So if we want to spend a few minutes, we can.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think we have the ability to spread here with our ticket. And even with using 2 in the Arkansas Derby, I mean, let's be honest, Concert Tour absolutely embarrassed the field last time, and I do expect him to do that again. And so this is one where maybe I would toss Cattle River and play the ticket for a buck if you want to. But for 50 cents, you never know. Maybe Concert Tour breaks bad. I think we should spread as much as we can in this leg. So the first thing that I did with this main special is I took the GSR column, and I saw that the 6 horse is the top GSR, followed by the 4. Now the 6 horse is a 51 EE morning line. It's a 1% win, and so it's a very low trainer. What do you do with horses like that, Justin? Do you, just because it's the top GSR, do you automatically include when you're handicapping these main specials?
No, and it's something I've learned with the tool. And as the GSR, some people know this, some do not. It used to be 2 numbers. It had a dam and sire GSR, and it was like, oh, the dam is really good on the turf, and it was really good. When Scotty had the crew redo the algorithm and go to a single number, it's way easier. It's much better, and Scotty could comment on it. Maybe he'll do that tomorrow. I think he's doing a show, or Saturday. I'll have to remind him to talk a little bit about it. It's a much better figure. I like to use the GSR combined with things. I think you can use it on a first-time starter. I like to try to find other things. The thing I don't like with this colt, the name is awesome, Mr. Snickers. The trainer is 0%. I don't think she's actually ever won a race, so maybe she will blow up the board. I don't love the work pattern here. I don't necessarily really understand it. So in this case, it's not a GSR play for me. I don't just keep all of the high GSRs. So in this case, I would toss the 6 personally.
Good stuff. And we don't need to spend money on a ticket of horses we don't need. And so that's a horse that auto toss. Look at the win percent 1, auto toss. EE morning line 50, auto toss. GSR doesn't stand out for the rest. That tells us as well. Now, had that horse been like a 10-point jumper, then that's something we really need to consider and look at a little more closely. I thought we were good with tossing the 2 and the 6, and then I was able to narrow it down to the rest of the field. So it's kind of funny how we're opening up the first leg with an all button -2, and then we could potentially close out this last leg and get paid for $72 just tossing the 2, the 6, let's see here. The system, is it tossing the 7? I think we need the 7 in there. That's the Asmussen and Ricardo. There's 2 Steve Asmussen horses in here, Hype Man and Nomadic Fighter. And so if I was doing this one, I would definitely go 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'd toss the 11 off there as well.
11 Scotty long shot, so we have to keep Scotty long shot.
Let's look at this.
So, $108 to toss the 2 and 6. I think if you don't want to do that, you keep it at budget using the ticket generators at $72 is what I would say. The other option there, right? Single Concert Tour, and you literally can go all, and you're going to have a cheaper ticket. I do think this main special maybe, and the 11 is a price play for viewers here. So you end up, John, I wouldn't either, just from the perspective of the algorithm. It's 10%. The morning line has it at 10-1 versus 15-1, and it's Scotty Longshot. So, in that case, if you go with the ticket generator and what we have there, that's the ticket for $72. You can add those other 3 horses for $108 again as an alternative. And John, I think, the 9 could be tossed. I think even, that maybe it's the 10 as well, so
you add the 7, your ticket's at $84. So I think that's the ticket, $84.
That's a great example on that 11 that you just opened my eyes to is the difference between same race SOR with average race SOR. The 11's 8 points higher, and the 3 that's a 15-1 morning line is actually 10 points higher. So there's another teller. See, we're learning as we go. This is great. This is another tool that we have to use.
Yeah, the race SOR is great. All right, there's the ticket.
There we go. Let's hit it.
And you can play it for a buck. You can play it for $42 if you just want a single concert tour. A few different options. Yeah, sweet. Okay.
I can see Whitmore and CZ Rocket throw down. That'll be my favorite race out there.
I like it. I'm with you. All right, viewers, hit that like button for us. We're gonna jump to Keeneland. We're gonna start on the back half. Well, we're gonna start and finish because this is an hour show. So, race 7, the grade 3. Is it Ben Ali Stakes? Is that how you pronounce it?
The Ben Ali grade 3 no Lasix stakes is what I like to call it.
All right, we're starting with 84 since that's where we ended last time.
So hard with these horsemen with knowing how a horse is going to run with or without Lasix. Okay, and so if you have horses that have never ran without Lasix, which I look at the 1, I look at the 2, I look at the let's see here the 3, I look at the 4 has run with Lasix the last 7 times he's ran. And then the 5. So all these horses have ran with Lasix for the last 2 years. We don't know what these horses are going to do without Lasix. And so this makes it really tough for the handicapper to determine how is a horse going to react. We saw last week with Imprimis. He broke through the gate, he started bleeding, and he lost by a nose to Bound for Nowhere. And so, I hope that they finally come to a decision on what they're going to do with Lasix. Can we just get this over with? Like, either have them or don't. Let's make a decision on that. Besides that, I liked 3 horses in this race. This is another kind of blast from the past type of race. I ended up going with the 1, the 3, and the 5. That's Beau Luminary, Naidu, and then Silver Dust. I found good cases to toss the 2 and the 4. I just, it's a maker horse, the 2, Treasure Trove, really didn't impress me that much. Is coming over from a race at Oaklawn, which I thought was interesting the last 2 times. Maker coming back over here to Keeneland from Oaklawn, trying to change it up a little bit for him. And then we also have this Sprawl horse for Tom Drury and Brian Hernandez Jr. that I really wasn't interested in at all. And so I went 1, 3, 5 here. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't love the 2 or 4 as well. I was with you. I thought the Wand with Louis on the rail could run. Beau Luminary.
Louis had a great day. Louis hit a pick 3 himself, and I missed every one of those today. Yeah, I was like, I was with my friends. I'm like, Louis not going to get the double. And then after I hit the double, I said, Louis not going to win 3 races in a row. But hey, he for some pretty good rides.
All right, we're going to regenerate 1, 3, 5. We will go to Keeneland race 8. Fillies and Mares 3 and up. The Giants Causeway Stakes. What do you think here? Oh, I actually really like this race. So we're sprinting on the turf. I think a Price is going to win this race. What do you think?
I ended up going 5 deep in this race. The horse that I believe will probably be the favorite, like it or not, with Irad Ortiz Jr. is going to be the one into Mystic. You don't want to get beat by this horse. Could be the best of the best, but I'm going to be willing to take a shot against the chalk because that's really how we get paid. I liked the 3 LEZ, and there were a few reasons why I liked her. You've got Mitchell Merle staying up, and what's the saying here in Kentucky? Bet Mitch and get rich. And so this 3 horse might be one of the fastest in the field. So if Mitch can clear and go to the lead, he could just try to turn the rest away. And so I wanted to definitely include this horse, and he beat Into Mystic last time. And so this is obviously a sprinter specialist in this LEZ horse. Dixie and Candyland, this is Eddie Keneally and Drayden Van Dyke riding. It's kind of funny. I went out to the West Coast, and I'm like, where's Drayden last weekend? And, he's in Kentucky now full-time. So wish him the best of luck here. But, this Dixie and Candyland horse, I think he's going to be your price play. I liked him as an underneath use, but I thought maybe if this race falls apart a little bit, he could be sitting like fifth and be able to pounce if he gets a good trip. The other horse I liked in this race was the number 7, Carrick. Now, Wesley Ward is heating up, and as we know, he waits for this meet every single year to unleash some new 2-year-olds, to really get his 3-year-olds primed and ready for their next step forward. You get John Velasquez, and I'll give you a little side note on this. After the races last Friday, we had drinks with Johnny V for about an hour and a half. Also had some really good stories there. Really learned a lot about him and how great of a rider and how smart of a rider he is too. Some of the insight that he has is just second to none, and it's really upgraded Johnny V in my mind as a jockey and as a horseman. And so let's look at what this horse is going to do. You know, he's had this horse in Kentucky for the last year, and so ran him at Turfway Park, ran him at Churchill Downs. You know, really didn't do much off of the synthetic, but we're getting back on the turf. Okay, he was running on an off turf or an off surface last time out. Get him back on the turf. I really like how form translates from synthetic to turf rather than dirt to turf or synthetic to dirt. So for me, this is actually the best combination where they're not looking to see if something's going to work. They're pretty confident that something's going to work going to the grass for this horse. And the last one that I liked was our boy from down south at Gulfstream, Jakarta. And this is another maker horse that Luis Saez is going to be riding. This one's going to be forwardly placed and coming over from the outside. And I really don't mind the outside post in a turf sprint. I believe it gives the horse a bunch of time to clear and get over before that first turn at 5.5 to 6 furlongs. If we're at Gulfstream Park and it's only 5 furlongs, it's just whoever breaks the best. This, you know, if everybody breaks cleanly, you have a chance to at least make your move before the first turn. So I was 5 deep, 1, 3, 7, or 1, 3, 4, 7, 10. Anything you hated there or liked there or wanted to add?
I think the one is super vulnerable. The inside rail in these turf sprints is so hard at Keeneland, and you just spoke to it. The outside post, I think this is a price. I think you can keep the one. The horse I would add is the 8, the Scotty Longshot, which it used to be the 10, Jakarta. I really like Jakarta here. And then the 8, well, let's talk about the 4 real quick, Dictate and Candyland. So I had a note on this horse. Huge value, slow start, 2 back at Gulfstream Park, was in the 7 hole, got checked, bet back. I bet it back, ran a great race there in a 62 SOR sprinting. Now bring it here to Keeneland. I think this could be, you had mentioned, this could be a price of the day here in the 4. I do like the 8. So I would say if we take 1, 3, did you talk about the 6? I think the 6 has got a shot too. A bit of both. Yeah, this is the Gaffleon Maker horse. I think we take 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 10. I think we spread here. I think we're getting a price. I even personally might toss Irad on the 1. I think that the post here is going to be very, very difficult for the 1. It is Irad. I think there's a price to be had here, though. But I say we take a little bit of coverage here and ultimately try to get a price. And we're going to have to single somewhere else. But I think that there's good potential here for a price. Oh, we need the 4.
Absolutely. You know, maybe this is one of those moves where Irad gets a little risky and tries to force his hand, and we'll see what the Keeneland stewards do with that, as we saw with what the Fairgrounds did with taking him down.
Oh, that was rough. I had him in that race. That was brutal.
Yeah. Irad, I get emotionally attached to guys like Irad. You know, it's like, you know, you trust him and then he screws you, you know, so you just never know what you're going to get. That's why they run the race. But yeah, I think we can get a price there as long as the chalk doesn't win, and we can move on to the last 3 races where I'm really excited because we've got another Derby prep, the Lexington.
What do you think here? So 8.5, 3-year-olds. Is the 2 going to route? What do you think here?
Ooh, Swift, sure. So we've got our boy Irad riding that one as well. I went 3 deep here. I went 2, 3, 7. And the 3 is more or less, you always hear people using a favorite as a defensive use. Well, I'm using a 7-to-1 shot as a defensive use because it's Baffert. And I don't want to get beat because I've been on the wrong side of him every single time the last 3 years. Why is Baffert shipping this horse halfway across the country to run for some Derby points? I have no idea. I saw when this Bezos horse broke his maiden. I mean, what was this horse purchased for? I mean, if you name the horse Jeff Bezos, I feel like you've got to be purchasing this horse for like a few $1 million, right? I mean, they purchased this thing only $400,000, so that's kind of disrespectful to Mr. Bezos, in my opinion. Come on, guys. But anyway, he ran terrible in his maiden. Something must have happened, and then all of a sudden they stretch him out to 8 furlongs. He breaks his maiden and breaks it very, very impressively. And so now we're stepping up to a SOR of 72 for this race. If we look at his average race SOR, look at it. He's dead last 44. So who has he beat? Nobody. Nobody at all. But it's Bob Baffert. It's a Derby Trail race, and he would rather have 3 in the gate than 2. And, Drayden Van Dyke used to ride a lot of Bob's horses when he was out west, and so, he gets a familiar rider. I don't know. What are your opinion on Bezos? I think we've got to use the 2 and the 7. I think Proxy is the horse to beat, and rightfully so. And I think this is a nice little class drop for him, or maybe the 7 can get the job done. Do you think we need Bezos?
I think you could almost single the 7, although maybe I'm just like not giving the 2 enough credit. I didn't look.
Let's talk Baffert. I like it.
The only thing I thought, like, the 2, is this horse good enough to route, or is it a pure sprinter? When you look at GSR Plus, I mean, this is a sprinter on the GSR side. Not that a 67 is bad, but so I think the distance here going 2 turns for the 2 is a question mark. The 7 Proxy is dropping. When you look at the 72 SOR, and you just mentioned it. I mean
that's a super dropper.
Yeah, he's running in the the Lecomte, the Risen Star, the Louisiana Derby, running in high to low 70s. Hasn't won, which is a little bit concerning. I don't know with Bezos.
Is Proxy the Medina Spirit of the Midwest?
Yeah, maybe. Might be. I'm with you. I mean, Bezos is 7%. Hockey Dad, I mean, ran great on the synthetic and won in a 72. I don't think we need Bezos, but we're going to have to cut down somewhere in the next, either really slim. So I don't remember here. What is the 4th?
I thought that the 2 had a slight chance of getting away. And so Proxy is obviously the class of the race. I mean, let's look at who he's been facing. He's been so close. I just wonder if he's one of those types that just gets in the race, digs in, and just doesn't like passing horses late. That's my only concern about the 7. I think class alone, I think ability, I think talent, I think everything is going to go Proxy's way. There's going to be a ton of pace in this race. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 horse are all going to go gunning for the lead. I'm hoping that the 2 can clear, but I'm not 100% certain on that. And if they all do go, then the 7 horse is going to set the trip. You've got Velasquez, who is he still looking for a Derby mount? I know he's got Soup and Sandwich, but maybe he's looking for some options too. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I say we just go 2 and 7. We take our coverage elsewhere instead of adding the 3. Jeff and John both like the 5. Unbridled Honor didn't run great here.
Another Todd Fletcher in the Derby prep. Imagine that.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It's Julian, though, so we're fine.
Yeah, I know. I say we go 2 deep and we save a little bit more for later. Let's toss Bezos. It's going to want to... Oh, we're going to want a single in the last. What's the last? Oh, maiden special.
I'm fine with a single in the last with Stage Raider. That's Justify's little brother. And
okay.
It's good. Okay. On Saturday, and so that means we might get some slop.
Nice. Okay. So wants to go 4 deep here.
That's awesome. Because I was 2 deep, and I thought we were going to be over budget. But if we can go 4 deep here, that would be the more the merrier.
Yeah, I think we just go 2 deep there in the Lexington, and in single in the last there. So the ticket generator wants the 1, 2, 3, 4. I like Juliet Foxtrot here. I hope I love her name as well, but I think this is a good spot for her. This does look to be a wide open race for the most part. I thought the 4 was interesting from a tool perspective, because I was trying to figure out how she was not only Scotty top pick, but EquinEdge has her at 9-5 on the morning line. And so in 3-1, on the traditional morning line, she's only 15% though. And then I look here and I'm like, this race is a 74. She's not, and she is coming from overseas, was running in grade 1, 2s, and 3s. And she did win a 66, so it's a step up for her. What do you think here? I'm excited to watch this grade 1 Jenny Wiley. I think it's going to be a great race.
I would agree with that. And I think Juliet Foxtrot is going to deserve every single penny that she takes tomorrow. We got Brad Cox and Tyler Gaffleone. And look who this horse has been facing. Viadera, the horse that Chad sent out west. Blowout, the other Chad horse. So she's lost to 2 Chad Browns in a grade 1, the matriarch. She's been running in grade 2s. She ran in the grade 1 Jenny Wiley last year and lost to Rushing Fall and Jolie Olympica when maybe those two were at their best at that time. And look at
the SOR there.
Uni, Vasilika. I mean, this Juliet Foxtrot's back class is awesome.
Yeah, she's she's probably, she's coming off a small layoff. But when you look at the grade 1 here, and you had, last year in 2020, it was an 86 SOR for this race. Right now, this is represented at a 74, not as strong of a field, and she has the back class. I get the layoff, but I think she's going to be ready to go. I think Cox is going to have her ready to go. What do we good going with singling the 7 in the last, do you think?
I'm good with that. And let me just touch on the other 3 horses in this race. We got Micheline, who Louise is going to be riding for Michael Stidham. And, I like the way that this horse running style is if we get a little bit of pace in this race. I'm just not sure how it's actually going to set up, because you got 2 other Chad Brown horses. You got Etoli, who I actually got to see in Chad's barn today, who is a deep closer. And then you got this Tamaher from France. And this horse ships over. Tamaher wins his first start, okay? Second start, loses to 2 stablemates. It was a Chad Brown straight trifecta. And so I saw this. I mean, this horse looked like an absolute monster on the West Coast. And I played this horse last time. Actually, I canceled my play on Viadera in this race, 5 minutes to post, and I went to Sorry, because he looked like an absolute monster. And I kind of played where IRAD was going, but Joel fooled me there. But anyway, I think you got to use both Chad Browns. It would be stupid not to. They're both deep closers. They both have a lot of class to them. Micheline, I think, is the other one that could maybe run with them. Are you okay with tossing La Signore? That horse has been around a while. I feel like she shows up in some spots. You got Johnny V for Brendan Walsh, but don't you feel like this one's maybe just a touch below in class?
I do, and I also thought, Maxim Raid is the Scotty long shot, and so are we going 1, 2, 3, 4, or are we tossing one of those and adding the 5? I don't think we need the 6. I like Juliet Foxtrot a lot in this race.
Yeah, I'm good with 1 through 4. I just thought that the 5 and the 6 didn't quite belong in this spot. I wouldn't have put them there if I was making the decision.
Yeah, no, well, good. And the ticket generator doesn't like it either, so we're sticking with the ticket generator. That's the for viewers, and a lot of people know this. Make small tweaks, just keep it where it's at. Make some small tweaks and let it go. So, last race, Stage Raider, maiden special, 7 furlongs. So I didn't catch this. So this is the little bro.
Yeah, it's Justify's little brother. So he debuted over Pegasus weekend, actually on Pegasus Day on the undercard in that loaded maiden special weight race that has produced winners. Prevalence, who, like I said, got some really bad trip trouble in the Wood Memorial. I think that horse is better than what he just showed last Saturday. but Prevalence pulled away and won this race by 8.5 over Stage Raider, who also beat Gahalzi, who won last weekend at Keeneland to finally break his maiden. And so if you look at that maiden special weight, that might have been one of the best maiden specials that we saw all meet at Gulfstream Park. And so you get Irad Ortiz to ride again. You get a nice post position. And this horse has already gone 7 furlongs, which I think is a huge deal because 7 furlongs can kind of be one of those tricky distances that horses, is this a sprint or is this kind of a longer race? And so he's got experience. He's going to sit on the outside and, he's Justified's little brother. And if we get any type of rain, I think that this horse is going to love the slop. And so that's also something that can change throughout the day this time of the year is the rain on and off. So, we don't know if it's going to be a sloppy track yet, but if it is, I'd upgrade this 7 even more.
Yeah, I mean, and look at GSR Plus. So, you caught that through GSR.
Crosses the finish line and then start the rain so that we can make it rain with cash in our tickets.
Oh, I love it.
Here we go. I know the viewers wanted to touch on the Maker's Mark Mile. We've got about, 7 minutes? Can we touch on the Maker's Mark Mile real quick?
Yeah, we just killed 10.
Yeah.
We talked last week. We just talked 10 races. We're going to get a couple extra races in. What races?
Better. Okay, so it's tomorrow, the 9th Keeneland race number 9.
All right.
And you know what horse sticks out to me in this race? I don't know. You talk about this race. What do you think here? Let's see.
I have not looked at it. So one of the first things I will do a little bit of live handicapping here since we have a little bit of time. We got 5 minutes. So one of the first things I do is sort by GSR, especially on turf. I do it on everything actually. I don't necessarily go sort by the average SOR. I look at the SOR for the distance and surface, and also look at lifetime. Here, okay, we got a bunch of winners. It's a grade 1. So I come back here, and the first thing I noticed is why have the 4 and 5 not run at this distance? It's 8 furlongs. I kind of look at that, and I say, okay, Sacred Life, okay, you've routed a bunch. You ran a lot of 8.5. Okay, 5, you're cutting back a little bit. And then I say, this is the new piece of the tool, is I say, this is a 78 SOR. And I say, okay, Hit the Road. You look like you're running really good at 68 on average, and you've won 6 times. And I see the 8 Raging Bull, and I'm like, okay, you're the top 2 Scotty picks. So right now, that's kind of where I'm landing. But as a capper, this is what I do next. I go in and I say, okay, Hit the Road. Where you been lately? You're not off a layoff. You're third off the layoff. You just won a grade 3 and a grade 1. But it is 72 and a 76. So this is a 78. So this tells me this is a really good grade 1 race because it tells me Hit the Road's no joke as being the top pick. Then I go to Raging Bull and I say, okay, Raging Bull, what have you done lately? Wow, you won the Shadwell as a grade 1. You are coming off a layoff. You have some serious back class here on Raging Bull. Okay. Sacred Life, what have you done? Running the 72 to 74s is somewhat lightly raced as a 6-year-old. Okay. I'm still sitting here with 2 and 8 right now. The 5, you're stepping up, really lightly raced. Luis Saez for Brad Cox. 78 GSR, 7%. Get Smoking. Got some notes. Tough race, very tough race. In the 78s to 72 has a lot of speed. The 1 is speed. It is on the rail. I'm kind of trying to figure out pace here a little bit. The 1 looks to be the speed. The 2 is going to be close. I'm really liking, I'm liking the 2. Some like it Hot Brown. Been running 76, has some speed. Velasquez for Maker. And then Flying Scotsman's Lannery. I do not like this horse at all. I would get rid of that horse for sure. Ride a Comet. I remember Ride a Comet.
I'm going to hide. I'll write a comment train. I know I called him out, and we'll probably get some messages on Twitter in the chat, but I'm off that horse now.
I don't necessarily just toss Field Pass. 11% Joel Rosario. Okay, no way I'm tossing that. Then I look at the morning line. Field Pass, Scotty Longshot as well. What else are we seeing here? And kind of flipping back and forth. The two morning line is 9 to 5. Quick handicapping. I'm probably sitting on. I think Irad on the 8's going to get a really good trip. I think the Raging Bull coming off the layoff, Chad Brown, Raging Bull off the layoff has run really well in a 78 SOR in the Shoemaker Mile. If I had to pick one horse, I'm probably picking the 8. Where are you at?
It's time to bet the bull. That's what time it is. It's time to bet the bull. All right. That was awesome. Scotty 2.0, Justin Sampson right there. That was really good, man. Put you on the spot. Just went through that race like a true pro. Nice job.
Thanks.
So let's look at how this race is actually going to unfold. Okay, where's the pace scenario? Get Smoking. The one's going to go. Okay, Hit the Road's going to show a little bit of speed. He's not going to be on the lead, but he's going to be tactical. And by the way, Hit the Road's won a serious race without Lasix. Keep that in mind underneath or on top. Some Like It Hot Brown needs the lead to win. I know that we had a comment saying that Some Like It Hot Brown should get a nice trip. Some Like It Hot Brown hits the board when he stalks, but he doesn't win. He needs the lead. So I think that Johnny's going to send the 3 as well. The Flying Scotsman, I think, is going to be on the lead, the 7 horse here. So we just named 3 horses that are going to go to the lead and ones that's going to be up there pressing as well. You've got some closers in this race. You got Ride a Comet, Sacred Life, Raging Bull, and Field Pass. Okay, so they're all going to be coming running late. Finally, we're at a turf course that is fair. Okay, we're not out at Rock Hard Gulfstream. We're not at Santa Anita where it's firm, where speed is holding at all these tracks. We're at Keeneland where the turf is fair. And so this is a absolute pace nightmare scenario, even if only 2 of them go. Let's say that the Scotsman goes and Get Smoking goes. Get Smoking showed that he can rate also, but the Scotsman's going to be so far out in front there that we're going to see some major fractions, I think, here. Here's my one upgrade that I really liked on the bull. You get a Rod Ortiz Jr. on the bull for the first time, I think, in like 3 years, since 2018 when he rode him up at like Saratoga. Joel Rosario has been riding this horse and also is one of my favorite jockeys. But I think what's going to happen is you're going to see Irad put the bull more towards the middle of the pack than the back. Okay, most of the time when Joel gets on the horse, the bull automatically goes to last, third last, somewhere like that, where he's 12 lengths off the lead. And the bull's running for second, the bull's running for third. I don't think Irad's going to let these guys get away. I think the bull's going to sit about 5th or 6th this time around and just absolutely mow him down in the stretch. I love this race. Raging Bull's one of my favorite horses, and so I would love to see him win. Be wary of Hit the Road because that horse has won. Was that a grade 1? Yeah, he won a grade 1 without Lasix. He's the only horse in the field that's won a serious race without Lasix. The rest of these, we don't know. We know that Ride a Comet won a grade 3 without Lasix, but we're talking a serious grade 1. And so, yeah, let's go Raging Bull. Come on, man. I bet he retires after this year, and so I'd like to see him go out on top, with one more week to see him eat all his food in the barn today. He looked good. He was doing somersaults in the stall, and he was really full of himself. So, hey, that's what I do. I don't know what you guys do when you go to the track, but when I do, I go back to the barn and I check out the horses. So
I love it. And that was fun to go through. I actually like doing that on the fly. Maybe we'll have to do that once, like one race a week or something. But he is a special horse. I mean, look at the running lines here. We're not seeing grade 2s, grade 3s. This is legit all grade 1s.
He was in Bricks and Mortar's shadow. I mean, think about it. Sham would have been a Triple Crown winner had there never been a Secretariat. Had there never been a Bricks and Mortar, Rabull might have a few more wins. Gary Rice asked a good question. Who do we like underneath of the bull?
I think Field Pass is going to run a race. I really do. As I went through that. Go ahead, though, Brady. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So here's what I'm thinking with this pace scenario. Which one of the speed horses is going to be the one to hold on? I think it's Get Smoking. I would use the 1, the 2, and the 9 underneath. If I was going to do a trifecta. The only other horse on is Sacred Life, which is the other Chad Brown horse that's also coming off of a layoff on Derby Day who lost to Digital Age. I'm not sure what to do, and this Sacred Life horse scares me a little bit because I don't really know, but it's Castellano, so, who knows? So I don't know that I would use that Chad underneath, but I would definitely use the 1, the 2, and the 9.
All right, we're at an hour, and that's the goal here. We covered last week. So 10 races. We did the Arkansas Derby. We talked Keeneland. We talked Keeneland tomorrow. This has me excited for tomorrow. I'm off work. This is my Friday. I took tomorrow off. It's spring break for my kids. It's time to play. And even better right now, what else is on right now? What else are we watching right now?
What else are we watching?
Masters.
The NCAA
Masters.
The Masters. Oh my gosh. Dude, I'm like, golf is like to me right now. I did play yesterday though, and I got beat by one of our viewers. So at least he was upgrade his EquinEdge subscription.
Oh, I love it. All right, it's been a pleasure, brother.
Of our threesome, though,
really,
that's how that goes. Oh, I was totally the Scotty Longshot. The Scotty Longshot wins 14% of the time, and that's about how much I win against this group at the golf course. So
I love it. All right, brother. Have fun at Keeneland. I know I'll be talking. Thank you, viewers, for another great show. We're killing it at an hour and 1 minute since we started a couple minutes late. Thanks, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
All right, Justin, have a good one.
You too.